Hello, this is Random Artist 222, and today I'm doing a quick short on how to age items. Today I'm using a round coin that and chipboard. What I did was glue the chipboard, and this is just for you not familiar with chipboard, it's just cardboard. The coins or the rounds are actually masonite, and I like it because it's a very stiff pressed board, cardboard type of material, and a good foundation. So the rest of this is just chipboard, your plain old, generic chipboard. And the images are glued on. And what I do is several layers. One I do is gesso to seal. And that's the whole clue when you're aging things, whether it's a journal page or a chipboard or whatever, is to seal it. Because if you age on just paper, you're not going to be able to drag the color down or water it down enough to get that aged feel. And when you create a non-porous surface, you're able to do this technique that I'm going to show in a minute. You can paint it several ways. I went with like I said, always white gesso on the bottom. Then I went with some black paint and some gray paint. And I finally ended up with turquoise paint on the top that you see here. And the reason I do that is because as I age things, depending if I want a copper finish or just a aged dark finish or a decoupage kind of finish, you can see that I've sanded back with some fine grit sandpaper some of the gray that I had in there, some of the black, and actually some of the chipboard is showing through that I sandpapered too hard on and brought out or took it back down to the base color. But that's okay because I'm going to cover it up with the paint to create that aged look. So again, it's a technique where you have to kind of know what you want to do, have to kind of work quickly. There are several standard colors that I use for aging. When I want to get just a decoupage look, I use Golden's Fluid Raw Umber, and I just transferred it into a bottle like this just for convenience because I normally work with them in these 4 ounce jars, bottles. And in this case, the Raw Umber, like I said, gives me a decoupage look. The quinacridone nickel azo gold, if I put that on there, it's going to give me a rusted, aged look that's rusty looking. And then there's the final color that I normally use is black. And that's probably the scariest one when you put it on here because you're putting all that black paint on there and you're like, oh, I'm ruining everything. But when you see the technique, you'll see that you're able to you could almost bring it back to where you're at if you're not comfortable with the color, the way it turned out. But like I said, you need to be aware of what style of aging you want. So today I'm going to do just a decoupaged effect. And like I said, I actually using the fluid versions of these mediums or these paints. And what I do is I'll put a little blob of it here. And I'm going to put it on here, and you can see how scary this can be because I'm covering up everything with it. And you want to get into those nooks and crannies before this dries up too much. So I can just put it on there. And like I said, you could do this with the quinacridone gold and get yourself a copperish kind of rusty vibe to it. Okay, and then make sure you get off any excess paint because you don't want to have to use the baby wipe to pull off too much paint, excess paint. You just want it to get most of it off. Okay, so then I'm going to put this to the side and I'm going to grab a baby wipe and I'm going to give this just a second. Take a breath and know that you can wipe this back. And so now we start the process. And I'm just going to start wiping back the color. If you go too hard and you pull off too much of it, you can add you can add it back. But the whole point of the aging thing is to get into these nooks and crannies and let those nooks and crannies take the color. You're not trying to wipe back or turn this whole thing brown, unless that's the what you're going after. I need to work a little faster here because I'm under a hotter light than I normally work with. Let me pull out another white. And you see if I back the red all the way. So it's almost like you found a antique, and you know with antiques you never try to take the patina off an antique because that's where the value of the antique is in the patina. But so you're working backwards in a sense mentally. You're trying to create what it was before the patina, completely caught the whole piece. I like doing this also with a silver background and then using solid black paint to create the nooks and crannies effect. And I'll do one here so you can see. See, I pulled that too far back, so now it's like too beigey. So I can just pick up some color and plop that back in and bring that color back down. Because what you're trying to do is, like I said, create the patina, but also mute down the color that you had. Because as you saw initially, it was pretty blown out. Okay. And you want to just, like I said, when you initially apply it, just let it dry just a little bit so it has a chance to get into the nooks and crannies and become effective. And, you can use this technique in journals, but again, when you're working on a journal page and you want to create this aged look, you need to make sure that you've covered the journal page with matte medium, some kind of glue that you're using or comfortable with, because if you put this on like here, it's on a non-porous surface, you can't move that color. So if you were to do this onto on a journal page that wasn't prepped or primed with something to protect the page, you would end up with a mess. You would destroy your journal page. But it is a really cool effect to use on a journal page. Again, like I said, mostly trying to get this color back in here a little bit, because I'm going to use this for something for myself. So I'll make sure I get it right. So that's basically it. As you can see, I've wiped back the color. It's come down. You can see that I probably could take just a little bit off right here. You feel free to use a Q-tip with a little water if the spot's too tight. But as I'm sitting here thinking, that one thing I want to say too about journal page is you definitely want to be quick about it. You definitely want to make sure you got the glue on the page to make it non-porous. And there you go. So that's my technique for decoupaging. And like I said, depending on what type of paint color you use will determine what you get. If I had done this with the quinacridone gold, I might have come back and stippled a little bit with some black dots just to give that oxidized age look even more of an effect. But that's aging the quick way. I hope you found this video inspiring. And if you could, please remember to subscribe and like. It helps me get my voice out there on YouTube and get more views coming to my channel, so I can keep getting inspired to presenting these to you guys. So thanks so much and have a great day.